Everyone. Today we are at the office of AERONOVA company, and that's where we're going to conduct a webinar. That's the room where the broadcast will take place. And there are two cameras which are showing our rooms. This camera is using our media server. That's where we have two media servers, and they're required for our tough scheme, which implies 13 languages of translation. Everything is translated remotely into certain languages. The interpreters are doing that remotely. We use the screensavers and we are capturing their sound with these sound capturing chips, and we have 12 laptops here on personal computers, and they are connected to our interpreters. We take the sound from them and then we use them in the operation room. We'll watch it with pleasure, please. Should we show the video in the very beginning? Okay, we are on air. The broadcast is going on. I thought of the way of showing the video. We are going online. We were only 8 minutes left. Mm, Despite all our achievements, accomplishments, success, the webinars are not subject to our efforts, but this won't deteriorate the quality of our broadcast today. We will draw the bottom line of 2024, and we will also cover the outcomes of the 19th financing stage, and that's what we're going to have. We'll have a brief nutshell of insightful information regarding the way we have passed as of 2024, and we are also going to cover our further accomplishments for 2025. New Year is always unexpected. We would like this webinar to be contentful, cozy, and comfortable for you. We even have a Fairtree New Year tree here, and you also get different gifts and presents today. I know that you enjoy them, and for this reason, first and foremost, today we will have an interesting piece of news, which we have already announced during one of our final webinars, and we're going to voice it as soon as we have 300 likes. It will be our mutual gift, present, or a sort of a deal. And talking about gifts, let me only announce the first one. If you make a repost of this broadcast, VK group called New Generation Airships, you'll have all the get guidelines and all the chat box in the description of broadcast. You will get 5,000 shares of the projects called New Generation Airships. There is a repost which you have to pin on your wall and then send a message to a special mail. It's a very simple action, and this will enable you to get a very promising word. Please take part in it. Talking about likes, I also meant this broadcast. We have broadcast VK. It's called the New Generation Airships. We are waiting for 300 of your likes to come, and we're going to announce the piece of news afterwards. We have a broad-based broadcast today, and not only is it held in Russian, but also in over 10 languages. People from abroad watch it, and we're going to voice all pieces of news. We welcome all the investors from India, Vietnam, Africa, Latin America, and other countries and regions which are actively investing their funds in Russian technologies and start owning interesting, promising, and profitable businesses. I congratulate you on doing that. And if you don't invest your funds in our projects so far, don't forget that we are finalizing the 19th stage of financing Duyunov's motor project. There will be a pre-seed stage, which is going to be over very soon, and that's what we are going to emphasize today. Well, dear friends, let us now move on to interesting information. Let me give the floor to Sergey Semyonov, the first place, who is the CEO of Solar Group. Sergey, tell us about the way we have passed, what we achieved in 2024, and what is in store for us in the foreseeable future. Dear colleagues, I'm very happy to welcome all of you at our final webinar. It is our reporting forum for our investors, partners, our overall audience. That's the format of constant meetings. That's when we compile different plans, and it is time consuming. Then it may expire, the time passes, and then we arrange these meetings and take a look at what we have achieved already, with what we are supposed to do next, and we plan ahead for the upcoming year. Today we have the reporting webinar, and we are the key actors of our project will tell about achievements in the very end, in a very generalized way. Let me tell you about three components. It's the Solar Group company. Our first project is called Sovelmash company, and our second current project of AERONOVA project is also going on, and we are in the office of this company. That's where our broadcast is held. The key piece of Solar Group company is the following one. That's the piece of news. We have become a full-fledged multi-project platform. That's what we have prepared for a while. We have covered it multiple times, and we have undergone a thorny road, and we are very meticulous about selecting our projects. We handpick them, and sometimes we make different endeavors, and that's the area which we have selected. So Group is a multinational financial company which is focused on arranging financing of different innovative venture projects. And they are based on technologies, developments of Russian and Soviet scientists and researchers who currently haven't found the way to implement these projects. That's the idea of bringing people together. Not only large capitals enter great tech business, but also others, because it's very hard to have a small seed capital while launching this business. Large banks and investment funds get the greatest portions, and our concept was providing a chance to the rank and files to invest in large-scale projects. We were gradually growing. We launched this project in 2017. As of now, we have incremented our funds, and we have encompassed over 500,000 people who are enrolling on our platform, and they keep track of our projects. We have over 70,000 investors right now, and this enables us to eventually deploy comprehensive projects. What is the key difference of and the distinctive feature of Solar Group? The second project emerged. It was a transition to the status of a multi-project initiative. It is crucial. Now we are not a single-handed company which is focused on one single project. New projects are also emerging in a stepwise way. It was a challenge for the entire team and for our employees. It really counted for us how our investors would perceive it. We were sticking to the plan. It was rather complicated, but it keeps evolving. All this is related to Solar Group. Let us now move on to our key large project. It's a Sovelmash company. Now we are at the ninth developmental stage. While we were conducting the reporting webinar last year, we declared our goals and plans. What have we achieved so far? What happened in 2024? The key point was the completion of the enormous of the construction of the enormous Sovelmash Design and Engineering Technology Department. It's a large company with a great equipment fleet, and they started hiring people. And now we are on the verge of getting the special permit. The committee arrived here. Everything is built and directed. The infrastructure and is here. Communications are late. We are replenishing our equipment units. The repair is over, and we are going to get the conformity certificate and all the official papers. We were planning to epitomize it this year. And what is the technique? Once we finalize the construction, we apply a notification for the competent bodies. The representatives of competent bodies arrive and take a look at the projects by which you are guided, and then they compare these data with formal data with the real ones. What we need is a statement of conformity. Then they make adjustments in the committee. If something is not conforming, we have to eliminate our defects. Then they come to our place repeatedly. We have already submitted these applications. The bodies have arrived here. They have conducted the verification. They made some amendments, and we submit our extra applications and extra documents, and we are waiting for further situation evaluation. What does it mean for investors? They are centered around people and technologies. They are going to support innovation, but the investors are genuinely concerned with profit. A company may be a for-profit one, given the data of the facility, despite the fact that we keep developing this rental facilities, that this doesn't allow us to make profit. We may make profit once the construction is completed, once we get the permit to make it operational, and afterwards we may make money while doing this business. And it was very cumbersome and costly, and it's a very expensive part of our project. It is behind us now. As far as you remember, in January 2023, we announced our super goal for all of us, for a financial company, which is funding us, as well as for investors and partners who are interested in accomplishing this project. We were adhering to the following plan. The 600 million rubles were planned for the first 6 months, but what we needed is to double our expansion. We didn't know how to achieve it, but we succeeded in doing that. We have overcome all the obstacles. We were on the rise. All the investors were involved in this project. 6 months into the beginning of this project, we have funded everything, despite the fact that this growth was required. As for the second stage, this project is on the verge of completion. It needs less money. As for the next 6 months, we were planning to utilize 300 million rubles, and we have also achieved this goal, and we were even ahead of schedule. We have changed some of our employees. We have expanded our presence in our different countries. We established our branches and offices, and we have even exceeded the planned value. But how have we exceeded it so far, and what are the final outcomes as of this year? Pavel will prompt you to like the content and to incentivize that. We will announce this amount once you are amenable to Pavel's blackmailing. The plans were set, the plans were fulfilled in terms of both finance and the realization. The amount of money raised enabled us to fulfill the construction plan. What is in store for us in 2025? We're going to execute the final stage, the 20th stage of the project, focus on project development in 2025. In 2025, Sovelmash company will be entitled to make profit and to earn money. Accordingly, 2025 is planning to witness the launch of money-making activities of Sovelmash, and it will pay back. It will sort of be a break-even point. That's why we're going to finalize the funding activities. The company is self-sufficient. It has some commercial activities. It is making profit. It has some orders and commissions, and it will be aimed at investors in a while. It is of paramount importance, and it depends on all the stages of getting these statement of conformity. How are we going to get the statement of conformity and the approval to make it operational? We will purchase the land plot. You know that this project is implemented in the special economic zone, and this land is being leased. Now it will be bought by us in accordance with our contract, but it will not be purchased at the market value. It will be preferential. It will be sort of almost a donation of the government. There will be a transition to the land plot where this enterprise is based. All the assets will be evaluated and put onto the balance sheet of the company. Afterwards, we are going to convert this company, to transform it into a joint stock company, and we will issue shares which will be distributed across the investors. Since we have 70,000 investors, that's great groundwork, and we started preparing for it in 2023. Now we span quite a number of countries which have their national specificity. We implemented some functions in Solar Group personal account for creating questionnaires, completing all this data, and filling all the documents for preparing for getting the company's stock and equities, whilst the Solar Group company will have a transformation and it will get the shares and stocks and equities of the company of Sovelmash during the transformation stage, because it's representing this business. That's when our shareholders will not be shareholders any longer. They will be full-fledged investors, and they will possess these shares. These shares may stay in Solar Group, and they may be controlled via personal account, and you may also get these shares for your personal ownership. Your account will comprise these shares. You may sell them and consider them. It has some pros and cons, and I'm not going to dig deep into it. While you're filling this questionnaire, you pass all these procedures. You may select the most comfortable way. Maybe it's preferable for you to communicate with foreign investors, with Russian investors, or with those who have more or less shares or stocks and equities. That's how this procedure occurs. Once the financing is over, the company won't need money any longer, and we were going to establish a corporate stock exchange, which will enable you to share the portions which look like equities. Here are our plans for the year 2025. That's what I have underscored. We are on the eve of finalizing Sovelmash funding project, but the company has just initiated its expansion. We're not anticipating any extraordinary profits at once. The company will keep growing and earning money and expanding its scale without investment assistance. The Sovelmash dedicated report is over. Now let me move on to the next project called New Generation Airships. We started elaborating this project in 2021. Maybe it was somewhat unexpected for many of you. We have launched something else, but they are our partners, and they monitor our news, and they remember that back in 2021 we made presentations regarding this topic. We took a look at the reactions and responses. We would like to find out whether it was um, fit for us or not. We have launched quite a number of projects in different stages. Some of them were ready, some of them were at particular stages of readiness, to name a few. When it comes to the technological approach and the potential profitability and suitability of the project format, which is compliant with our audience, creation of the airships and creation of this industry is a goal which is ambitious, but we are able to execute it. But the potential prizes are also tangible here. Let me highlight that despite the fact that we started elaborating this project in 2021, we had to decide whether we could embark on it or not, whether we had chances to fulfill it or not. We hadn't launched this project until we were sure that the previous project was financially safe and secure. We take into account the fact that the projects are interdependent, and success and failure of Sovelmash project will inextricably affect a further market of crowd investing, at least in Russia, because we have rather great magnitude and we are actively involved in it. If the first project turns out to be successful, it will be much easier to implement the second one. If we question it in terms of the underfinancing risk, we, we will also incur risks of all the potential future projects. In 2024, namely in summer, I announced the preparation of the project called the New Generation Airships. We launched them very urgently in order to test this interest. We wanted to find out how it works. We use our current personal account, and we were taking a look at the reactions and the responses. Pavel and Fyodor will elaborate on all the figures, but the figures testify to the fact that this project has sparked of great interest. When we were launching Sovelmash project, it was much slower and it was much more difficult. We had other figures. We also have great audience, quite a lot of people see that we may attain these goals and achieve these results. We are consistent and stable. We fine-tune everything we have undertaken. As for the pre-start stage, which is in full swing now, a lot has already been achieved. The first point is shaping our expert team, which had to work together, and it did, and its members did work together. We are structuring the company, and we are setting the work plan and orchestrating the company as a project. It has particular goals, objectives, a roadmap. First and foremost, we will move on to the first stage, and the zero stage will be over as soon as we accomplish these tasks. They are being fulfilled right now. It is in place. We have a legal structure and the winding, and we are conducting, we are signing agreements. We have conducted some experiments, and now we are testing this equipment, and further we'll delve into it in more details. Our company enables us to compare two projects. It's Duyunov's Motors project. It is vast and stable, and it doesn't belong to the category of venture investment any longer, because great money is poured into this project, and this didn't happen in the past. And as for airship project, it is now created by the same team of people and by the same company, created by this project, but it is now undergoing the venture stage, because it is much riskier to investment in it, because we don't have any large scale enterprise. We have nothing to display, and I know that it is important for investors. Those who are investing funds in the new generation airships are more risk-taking and venturesome compared to Solarmash and Sovelmash, and our audience got a unique opportunity from the company which has been in the investment market for over 7 years. It is working in a stable way. You may invest funds both in venture companies and in the projects whose readiness grade is rather high. Having a look at this way, how many companies have emerged in the market, how many unfair people were engaged in these projects. We understand that there is cutthroat competition in this market. Some currency exchange rates are going up, some of them have gone bankrupt. You may understand how many people have lost their goodwill, and no one is eager to take part in these projects. People have also lost money, in my opinion. While you're working with us, namely with SOLARGROUP, you have a chance to work with a sustainable big company, which also enables you to take part in venture projects. And as for new generation airships, we are going to move on to the first stage in 2025, and we are going to initiate our full-fledged activities in 2025. It will take place as soon as the projects are ready, and you will dive into it. Further, we'll cover more airships which we are going to construct. He'll also mention our potential customers. Why am I delivering this speech? Many people compare this project with high degree of itemization and particular figures and sustainability and the current stage of this one, but it is necessary to compare the first stages of Sovelmash project and those of new generation airships projects. And here, nothing is that specific, but the terms and conditions of investing are also different. Wrapping up my speech, I would like to stress that investment is, in any case, required, in my humble opinion. The number of market supplies is limited for the rank and files. Only a few people may afford $500 because investment funds don't deal with the funds of those which are less $10,000, but we enable a lot of rank and files to vote with the rubles and to use these small sums and to become part of these great companies, to earn money while doing that and to contribute to that and to experience this contribution. One of my super values is the following one. I have a feeling that I keep uh, keep track of something beneficial and good. That's what I may influence. I may participate in it, and I create the experience of constant progress and evolution, and it is worthy. Dear colleagues, I hope that our reporting conference will be a venue for good news for you. That's true, dear colleagues. And now let me give the floor to our colleagues because they uh, 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 they will dwell upon that in more details. Yes, Sergey, thank you very much. You have provided such a lot of valuable information right now. I would like to somehow finalize it with several figures and data which we have managed to achieve throughout 2024, and they seem to be interesting for me. In 2024, as of now, we have attracted approximately 11,000 investors who have joined our projects. It's the first time they're joining us, but as for investment packages purchased, there are a total of over 20,000 of them. It testifies to the fact that people do not purchase them once. They invest these funds multiple times and they take several investment packages. And that's a striking figure testifying to the fact that people are not only ready to take part in Sovelmash and new generation airship projects, but they're also not disappointed to make this choice and make it repeatedly. And I'm sure that the audience of Duyunov Motors here is the following one. They will be eager to take part in new generation airship projects as well. The audience will coincide. I know quite a lot of facts where everything is working, vice versa. Some partners advertise the airships, they purchase packages on airships, and the same guys also invest funds in Sovelmash. It's a synergistic effect. There are some projects from different fields, and some people enter our projects to invest in them while not seeking investment. The thing is that they like the technology. As for the previous project, everyone was eager in development. There was approximately 150,000 people using Yandex who make the airship request. They're interested in the technologies for airships. I'm not sure that they would like to purchase the ticket for airships because they are not based in Russia. There are 150,000 people, and that's the scope of interest which we're going to fuel and to attract to airships project. But since they are using the same personal account and the same platform, it is 100% truth that they will witness this project and they will lend each other a hand. As for striking figures, let me remind you that there was a total amount of funds. There was a plan of 900 million and it was fulfilled, but it was a record breaking figure over all the years of work. And I will tell you the accurate figures once we have 300 likes for this broadcast in VK group called New Generation Airships. Today we have multiple broadcasts. It is YouTube, VK, be it Duyunov Motors, the Solar Group, and New Generation Airships. And don't forget to make reposts. All of these broadcasts are held in Russian and in other languages. And New Year's New Generation Airships is also a cool opportunity to dig deep into it if you don't do it now. As for other records we have beaten this year was record breaking, and one of the reasons why the second project was launched and why we were sure to be able to finance two projects concurrently is monthly sum. That's what we have managed to wire. It is over 180 millions, and it took 1 month of Solarmash, and it is also an excellent figure of which all of us may be proud. What is more, Solar Group and investors were aware of this project. Everyone helped to fulfill it. Some of them were involved in promotions. Some of them purchased the second package, and I would like to highlight that we have a community of investors and partners. They're not indifferent to it. They invest in funds in it now. If they realize that if a project needs a boost, they're always able to assist if they if they have this chance. And when it comes to Sovelmash plans, they were fulfilled and it was broadcast, and this confirms 100% loyalty of our community. We have already mentioned that 19th stage is due to be finalized on the 29th of December, and prior to talking about it in more details, Alexander Sudarev will tell us about it from Sovelmash company, which particular steps were undertaken in 2024 and which goals is Sovelmash pursuing now. And prior to turning on the journalistic report of Alexander Sudarev, let us say goodbye to Sergey. Yes, I say goodbye to you. Other speakers will step up, and I was happy to welcome you. Good afternoon, dear friends, dear participants, dear viewers, dear investors, and Sovelmash projects. Alexander Sudarev is joining you once again, and today we have a special broadcast from Sovelmash facilities for a Solar Group conference dedicated to summarizing the results as of 2024. Let us recall only a few words of 2024 outcomes. Which events were iconic? What have we managed to achieve? Which difficulties did we come across? Looking back, we should highlight that we were very well prepared for the year 2024. Our building has the rather robust stage of development, but still we were actively working on beautification. We were laying asphalt, which we haven't managed to finalize in 2023. We were landscaping the territory. There were some lawns and automatic watering stations. There were some benches which were installed. There were some recreation areas, leisure areas, and some charger areas for the electric vehicles, and there were some parking lots to be installed. We were also actually working inside the building. The construction was almost over. The contractors were working incessantly, and thanks to the high pace of investment which we have managed to show, 2024 became virtually landmark and was the point of inflection, a turning point or a tipping point, because we were able to even out the pace and to catch up to the required level, and such large-scale tasks as finalization on completion of engineering communications, all this was also over. I mean, the systems of firefighting protection, the firefighting protection, of smoke removal. There was also a suction ventilation system, and the climate and weather systems were also mounted, as well as low current systems, including with dispatcher system, control rooms, and safeguarding systems, and the internet connection. And also for the systems, there was a backlog of these systems. And the water supply, cold and the hot running water system, I haven't mentioned it yet. And we may observe all the amenities at the end of 2024. They were created inside the building. There are some sanitation facilities here. Their number is striking as well. I also mean central heating and lighting and illumination and sanitary facilities. In the very beginning, there were some safe lamps. They were installed. There were no light emitting devices here. The people are working here, and this lighting system is very safe. As for some aisles and the passages, they have some light emitting devices, and this is also essential, and it is testifying to our responsible approach to creating job stations and workplaces. We have satiated our facilities with quite a number of capacities and facilities. We set up the production capacities, and not only will they be able to complete the tasks which were initially set for the projects, but we have also exceeded some values, because the number of facilities created now will be able will enable us to create to manufacture some items and all the elements of the grinding machines here without leaving the building. What do I mean by that? Now we're going to roam around it. Let us take a look at our machines, what is installed, what is mounted concurrently. Quite a number of equipment items are going to arrive in our place, and it is also a watershed event. What do I actually mean? And let us then take a look at the products and devices which we were able to manufacture in 2024. Let's go. Today we are in the machining plant. We are going to expand on it in more details. A great number of guided tours were held for our partners and investors, and many of you have already seen this equipment. But as for the final outcomes of the year, I will also dwell upon them. And here are the specialized machines created and designed and purchased for us in order to prototype particular products, to create rigging and small-scale production batches for prototyping. And that's the equipment which will enable us to create our production facilities. I mean our machines. That's our turning machine, and it is equipped with this wonderful device. That is where metal rods are loaded, they're processed here, and then we get ready access and ready-made shafts for electric drives. It is a very important topic. This is also turning and lathing equipment, and it is diverse, and it is worth emphasizing that each machine is fit for any dimensions of the items. For instance, this machine has a pattern of 340 millimeters, and it enables us to create and to prototype aviation motors, and they're the motor wheels of different dimensions. And thanks to the magic of installation, we move further. Here are also some turning machines. That's where you can see the products of these machines' operations. I would even say that that's the waste or residue. Here are some turning machines. That's where they installed, where they're going to operate further. Now we are connecting them. We're laying electrical communications onto that. We use a stationary system of connection, and specially trained people will also focus on startup and commissioning works. As for the sizes, they're smaller compared to the previous one, and they are designed for dealing with items of other sizes, smaller ones. This area accommodates some milling CNC machines. Some of them are going to be used for startup and commissioning, and some of them are in full operation. And with the waste and residue are testifying to that. And while they're undergoing the startup and commissioning works, what do startup and commissioning works mean? Particular items are produced, and then the dimension values are measured for these items. If they specified the dimensions are implied by the software, and the actual values coincide with the ones in the software, startup of commissioning is going properly because it functions smoothly, and the precision of processing is rather high. Here you can see the intermediary stage. Everything is smooth here. Here you can see some notches. We have achieved all we had to, and now you may think of the ways to use this hardware and why do we actually need these metal products. Let us go further. That's the equipment of the same category, of the same design, but now it is fulfilling another task. Globally, it also goes through metal, but the actual value is different. That's the work in progress. The intermediary work, it hasn't undergone final processing yet, but quality and the precision of works is observed here. Here are the integral parts for aviation motors of new generation. And currently, this machine is manufacturing these items. We may recall that this equipment will help us to create rigging and something else. If we are lucky enough to open it, we will see some other devices. Here are the tools. Here's the instrumentation. That's the press mold, and it's a billet. And we're not going to show some superfluous things because we are using our actual values and ready-made manufactured products. So not only do we manufacture products here, but we also manufacture the instrumentation and tools. We also have some laser facilities. Our equipment is based in the proximity. It is nearby. You have seen how it operates multiple times. Here are the waste products. There is a total of 6 laser facilities, and the Sovelmash territory accommodates them. There are metal and non-metal lasers, graving machines, and even laser welding. And thanks to the magic of installation, let's go further. That's where new equipment appears. Here are some sheet bending machines, which are also required for prototyping, for manufacturing the tooling and rigging, and for this equipment on the whole. And it is never in excessive quantities. This equipment is not used for prototyping. It is used for mass production and for significant production. You can see plus automators. The transportation packaging is scrapped as well as pallets and films. It has all the required items and granulated plastic, which will be leveraged while working. Here you can see specialized materials. Everything is ready for implementing startup and commissioning. We are lucky to take a look at these pellets. Currently, you may hear the ways these butterfly tests are on, and not only do we assess the capacities of machines and equipment, but also we have our special facilities for the peripheries, and we also purchase this special equipment for servicing the engineering networks. And that's here are the elbow rests. That now the life of our equipment is sad and deplorable, and now it is delivered from China. I'm not envious about them, frankly speaking, but it is worth highlighting that it turns out to find itself in a very warm white premises, spacious, and this gallery was empty at the beginning of 2024. It was a warehouse area or a storage area, and no one could realize what the intended use of these premises is. It lacks space because it is completely occupied by the equipment that is of heavy equipment of heavy gauge for mass production, and no mistake about it, it is um, made for aluminum, and it has very high productivity. And as for the molding shapes forms you can see is they're used here. That's a foundry. That here is they use for casting lithium. The size is impressive. We can also see melting pots and crucibles here. That's the machine we manufactured, and it may forcibly press the psyche and the materials of different composition. And the force is roughly 300 tons. It is a very important device in the life of any enterprise, and one of the goals set by it is metal work, metal processing or machining. That's the lift. It is an excellent vehicle which is required for fulfilling a wide range of functions. We've recently received this machine. It is very heavy. Its weight is considerable, and now it is in the transportation packaging. Startup and commissioning will be fulfilled. It is used for crushing. It is required for creating uh, the inner grooves in the devices, key grooves in the devices. And I think that the manufacturing specialists will appreciate the value of purchasing this equipment. In other words, it is not fortuitous that we mentioned the full cycle and manufacturing of our future products. And obviously, the equipment we purchase cannot exist without the material with which it will deal. And this material has already been purchased. Here you can observe these so-called barrels. Some of the employees told us that there are barrels, but I would say that there are the base or reels, that is sheet metal. But as for laser cutting, it is not eligible for it. It is not apt for it. And why is it indispensable? The fact is that other machines are also transported to our place. We haven't taken a look at them yet. We were waiting for a stamp, and this stamp will be used for making rotors and the stators, packages, and radars for angle grinding machines. And his stamp will be used for that. We are getting ready for production, and we are going to fulfill these plans. We wouldn't like this to have as a fruit of imagination. We have to calculate mathematical values, purchase materials, and deliver these materials. What are we doing now? We can see the modest overview of the chamber for powder painting and coloring. I think it will be shifted to a different wing of the building. All we can see here are monstrous machines. They are very heavy, robust, dependable, and they will also fulfill challenging tasks. There is a foundry, casting machine, and a crushing machine, and some other items which we haven't mentioned yet. And talking about the achievements we have managed to implement in 2024, it's the creation of a super heavy class drone. It is a so-called butterfly, and it is constructed on the base of the drive. There are asynchronous motor wheels with 100% production localization. It is produced not only domestically, it is produced in-house. It is a corporate expertise in development. It's combined winding called Slavenka. It is unparalleled because the declared parameters for which we are striving exceed all the values available in the market. We are conducting some flight tests. We are improving the frame. We are fine-tuning it, and the operation modes and the flight controllers are being enhanced, and we are getting ready to launch this item into mass production. It is multifunctional, and it enables us to fulfill the transport function and for a special intention, and it's used for firefighting, for evacuation. There are multiple avenues to apply it. It's also a very interesting platform for agriculture. It is one of the mightiest agricultural drones in the world right now. The year is almost over, and the workload is increasing. And following the tests of these devices, they are being modified. There are some reels for blades. They have been added for two blades. In the past, there were approximately 6 of them. The experiments have revealed that 2 blades are of higher productivity and output. That's why the collars were upgraded. The sleeves were upgraded, and we used our equipment for manufacturing this and finalizing the year 2024. I should mention the works conducted on floor 3 of our design and engineering technology department. Is for the beginning of 2024. The repair wasn't over. There were some walls, but as for the final flooring, it was not late. And as for low current communications, they were at the seed stage or at um, the germinative stage. And as at the end of 2024, it is it has the work in engineering communications, the workplaces are created, and it is finalized. And the key point is the following one. There is the line of superficial installation or mounting. It is placed here and is and made operational. Not only do we manufacture hardware or motors, but also the instrumentation and tools to control them. We are also developing software and metal controller, which also have so-called brains. For this reason, we purchase the printing boards, electronic microchips and micro components, and this line is designed for mounting all we need for this board using the design we require. It is far from this task is far from trivial. It is very complicated, but we successfully managed to do it. We have developed a controller for the angle grinding machine. The development is over in 2024, and now it has been fine-tuned. Also, extrusion was also commissioned from the third party. I mean, the extrusion of cooling radiators. We also have an end product. Let us recall our butterfly of super heavy class that is necessary to manufacture its in-house controller. What is done by us? The design of boards is over, hardware and tooling and rigging are being manufactured. The mathematical model is ready. In order to fulfill these tasks, we need facilities. And to sum up, I would like to highlight that 2024 marked the finalization of actual construction works. We have already undergone one commission as of 2024, and it will enable us to get a document, sort of statement of construction completion. The first commission revealed several comments and non-conformities, but we eliminated them. And currently we have a repeated commission, which is verifying the state of the facilities right now. I would like to underline that now everything is kept afloat for us. And as for the rest of the time, it will determine our further plans. As for getting the statement of construction completion, it is planned for this year. We are willing to make it happen. We're committed to make it happen, and we are holding some relevant events. We hope that this will occur. And as for some details about our plans for 2025, it will result from the work done by us. We have got used to discussing our further results, and our statements are based on actual values and actual events. But I am confident, and I may state that our major works on development of the grinding machine is over. One of our is almost ready for mass production, but we have to get the approval for starting up and commissioning it. We have also implemented what projects. It's a super heavy class drone, and we're going to cover it in more details.
Recording in progress.
And, definitely, there are quite a number of products. There are some water cooling motors, industrial motors. There is a wide range of items, but that's what we are accentuating. Therefore, it is worth mentioning that the year 2024 is being finalized, and we have striking figures. And in 2025, it is an open secret that the equipment which is present here will enable us to make profit our technologies. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for your kind attention. Thank you for trusting us. Please keep track of the project implementation, and do not forget that the project is not completed yet. Its final stage is in the pipeline, and we have to go the extra mile right now in order to initiate our for-profit activities and to have the most lucrative positions right now. Thank you very much. Thank you, Alexander, for this uh, invigorating video report. I know that the audiences understood what happened in Sovelmash 2024. It is very hard to cover even 5% of our activities within 5 minutes. But this extract was also insightful for you. Do not forget to enjoy our expert time. Please follow us in the social media and keep track of our news. And this will keep you abreast of what is going on. At present, as Alexander has highlighted, this project, the final stage is underway. And in order to confirm that we are moving on to the final stage of project funding, let me remind you that our funding is split into 20 investment stages, and we undergo some frontiers at each and every stage as we solve some tasks and raise funds for solving them. We mitigate the risks of project failure. Nothing can go awry to our business thanks to our efforts. And then we move on to the next stage of our project. These conditions and terms are not that lucrative for the investors because the lower the risks are, the less shares the company is given is ready to give to the investors. That's the 19th stage. I hope that those who have joined us at the first, second, and third stage keep watching us. I recall the inception point of our project, and I have very cordial memories. We couldn't even imagine that, how great this enterprise is. Not everyone believed that we would be able to implement it, although we had a good team and technologies and the enterprise. Not only did we prove that this business is of concern for many people, but as for crowd investing, it is an investment tool and funding tool which is um, enabling us to boost this large project, and we have proven it to the whole world. Now the terms of the 19th stage of the funding is still on, and what will be your degree of trust? It will be $1,000 to $2,000, and while you're packaging other investment packages, the terms of the 20th of the final stage of funding will be valid on the 30th of December. That's the last stage when we are going to finance Sovelmash company, and afterwards it will make for profit activities and make profit. It will be self-sufficient and pay dividends to the investors who have propped up this project. What is going to change at the final stage, at the 20th stage? There will be more all-encompassing changes. Our discount is declining. In other words, as of new stages, while you invest in the same funds, you may purchase a smaller number of shares each dollar invested. For instance, you will get approximately 80 shares at the 19th stage, and as for the final stage, you'll get 50 of them. That's true. And meanwhile, the changes are more dramatic. The discount is changing drastically. It is decreasing drastically. We reduced it by roughly 10%, and while we are moving on to the 20th stage, it will be decreased fourfold. Uh, and by 40%, and because now the project is moving on to the next stage. The second difference is the following one. Starting the final stage, it won't be able to um, restore the cancelled installments, and the investors who made it possible to cancel the investment package won't be able to resume it. Please focus on it if you pay it in installments. If you have customers, investors, and your friends who also do that, please draw their attention to that. As for the finalization of the 19th stage, you may restore your installment, but only 2 weeks are left. Let me also draw your attention to the fact that starting from the 20th stage, long-term installments for investment packages will not be available for investors. There will be only 10-month installments. And given the fact that we don't need this long-term money extended for several years, financing will be over much earlier. And despite the fact that financing may be over and installments may still be paid, it was decided to scrap long-term installments. And last but not least, it is a very curious and dramatic solution. As for small investment packages, they won't require any installments, and they will also be available only thanks to single time uh, payment. It is for 1,500 payments dollars, and only one single payment will be required for this package, and this will be one single available option, and that is what is in store for us for the 20th stage of the financing. We hope that this won't affect the financing any longer, despite the fact this investment is required. We can see that people will be ready to invest these funds given these tough conditions, because they will invest in the mature business. And that is the stage when installments for small packages are not required any longer, but a single time package for $500 is feasible. As for upcoming 2 weeks, current conditions are still valid. You may invest funds in using current terms. You may take a long-term installment for 30 months. You may take an installment of for 10 months for a package of $10 till New Year, till the 29th of December. Everything is available. That's the last date. Hopefully you managed to listen to me. Please don't wait the very last minute, because some people ask me to make an exception and to allow them to purchase these installments, and we may extend them and we turn them to the support. And other investors tell us that we had promised to do that, and we decided not to extend this period. We're not going to accept any of your requests. That is why you have to plan your investment beforehand and inform your investors and partners thereof. Guys are writing that Pavel, please give us the gifts. As for the first gift, is a good piece of news, but it is replaced by 300 likes in broadcasts and decay in the group called New Generation Airships. We can see links scattered across the comments in all the chats. Which broadcast do you mean? Please um, click onto it, and I will tell you the exact figure, how much money has been transferred to Sovelmash company, and it will be impressive and delightful for you, because it's record breaking for all the project stages. Thank you, dear investors, for supporting this project. We also give presents for the broadcast. This 500,000 shares. It's new dirigible new airship project. Thank you for making a repost and complying with all these terms. They have already been scattered across all the chats. Please turn to technical support and you will get all the terms and conditions. If something is unclear, there is quite a number of reposts, but there are only a few likes. There are only 100 likes, or something like that. Please like it, because you would like me to announce it on air in the broadcast. Otherwise, we will leave you and you are not aware of the exact figure. If your friends are not investing, please let them like it. As for the gift, which I have already shared, it's a small promo which you enjoyed. I'm turning to investors of from Russia. It's the share with anchoring the exchange rate. Dollar exchange rate is very volatile, and we get messages from people about that. And we do our utmost to welcome our audiences. Well, for this reason, until the end of the year, we will have fixed dollar exchange rate. It is 95 rubles per $1, and this will make your investment in Solar Group company even more lucrative, especially when you pay in installments. Please pay attention to this chance once it's available. 2 weeks are remaining for that. Okay, that's it. Advertising is over. Is also over. Now let's talk about our project. That's our favorite project called the New Generation Airships of AERONOVA company. Our office is a venue for our broadcast today. That's the project launched in 2024. That is why that's one of the most iconic events in the project life and in Solar Group company life. And now let me give the floor to Fyodor Konstantinov, who will dwell upon it over a short time span. How did this project elaborate on some issues in 2024? Great workload was done. Please tell us more about this work, which interesting events took place in the company, and please announce your plans for the future, the year 2025. Let me welcome you, distinguished friends. The year 2024 witnessed the project launch in um, August. The first conference was held on the 7th of August, and then the 7th of September had the second conference, and then they took place in the 7th of October, November, and December, respectively. The project is 4 months old. What was our first action? It was the crucial one. We rented the office and we brought together all the team members in one single space, and we lifted the burden for making a living, and they didn't have to work and to make a living any longer. And that's a creative ship function, which they are fulfilling. And we worked very closely in September. We had so-called scientific and technical boards where we set the company goals and orchestrated the development strategy for our vehicles and the company as it is. We elaborated on the images of the first devices and apparatus. We made up the list of technologies used for different devices, and they had to be verified and implemented. It was the brainstorming stage of September. Moreover, we established the organizational structure. It took 2 months to attract all the required experts to the project. There is a total of approximately 30 people, a little bit more than 30 in our project, but let alone the administrative personnel and others, approximately 20 top-class experts were involved, and they specialize in particular areas. We have a light organizational structure. We do not have any department heads. We have just people who fulfill particular duties. It is called an engineering center. That's sort of an association, and we also had plans and schedules for the engineering center for 2025 concurrently. This administrative and utilities functions were fulfilled. Furniture was acquired. Some of them were, these pieces of furniture were taken from home. Some of them were available in the office. Some of them were taken from Solar Office, but all this was purchased. The servers were installed and software was uploaded. Computers were purchased and even a water cooler appeared here. It is also required guided tours, video guided tours across the office were held. Unless you see them, you may watch them VK because the YouTube doesn't function properly right now. Let's now show the video recording of the tour for our investors. Concurrently, we equipped our laboratory. Many of you could see the laboratory's operations. What can we see here? Here are our investors. That was a large-scale event, and following this event, different linguistic groups of investors were also present here. If you were present here, please like it. If you joined these facilities, but by and large, all of us enjoyed it. And we also admired that because multiple investors were not eager just to take a look at it, but they also put forth particular proposals for their countries. We even planned ahead some active undertakings with some African and European countries. All this was required for promoting the airships on the planet. And fortunately, our investors are aware of that. They manifest their interest and contribute to our joint development. And some insightful and voluminous conversations were held here. Thank you for initiating them. So-called active phase of international development will be initiated next year, but I will cover it a little bit later. That's all related to plans. But let me get back to what we have managed to implement, we issued regulatory documents in the company by which we're guided, and any complex devices consisting of hundreds of components, assemblies, units, to name a few, should be made, and these documents specify the data of the ways they are constructed and designed as sort of an images, and the working documentation, design documentation will also be required. We have already initiated that, and the key point is the following one. We started developing and manufacturing these airships once we shaped the development strategy. We envisioned several airships, and how are we developing it? Let me reiterate that for those who are watching our webinar, multiple companies which were manufacturing airships or started in the past or start manufacturing airships now begin to manufacture large ones at once. I attended one meeting today about there was a transport and logistics company which needed new logistics tools and transport airships. They were in negotiations with the airship market players, and these players wanted to avoid the error which we're not going to commit. But as for the time, for the first dirigible, for the first airship, it had to pay off the entire process of its creation, and this nips the entire area in the butt because it becomes golden one, because 1, 2, or 10 airships cannot pay off and pay back the manufacturing and design strategy. We do not construct large and cumbersome and solid ones in the very beginning, but we start developing them using small steps, and we do it gradually. And one single airship is not a rescue stick which will pay back and help us reach the break-even point. This system has to be operable. We started sticking to the strategy. The first one is a very small one. It consists of 130 dies or cubes. It is almost over than 80% designed, and the as for 20% which are remaining, we should cut its soft envelope. It will be a drone-based one. Will be unmanned, and it will be enabling us to elaborate on our unmanned system. We have very powerful engineers who create this unmanned system. It will definitely make errors. It will fall. All the events will happen to it, and I hope that nothing special will happen to it, and everything will go smoothly. But what is the price of error of testing that using this large airship? It's truly great. And as for small ones, it's not that risky. It's called AERONOVA 01, and 01 is 100. 101 stands for 100, 130. And for the first one is Nova 01. It will function with the use of lithium batteries on electric drives. It also has impellers, helical structures, and helical structures in the annulus, in the circles. There will be multiple systems. There will be a ground-based control station, which has now been manufactured. Interfaces are being created, and there is also software in place, and the radio system is manufactured. All the accessories have already been purchased, which are required for that. And feathering and tail feathering has been manufactured. We conducted great research on the fabric used for manufacturing our airship. It has empennage and tails. There were quite a number of options. No, they are both domestic and foreign ones. We have 3 favorite ones. the delivery of the fabric we require from a friendly country is a little bit delayed. We have an agreement with the enterprise where we may abide by all the standards and the state standards and all standards. We may conduct full-fledged tests, but this will happen before New Year. It will be tested for strengths, for helium, for helio permeability, and there are approximately 15 parameters for testing. Then we'll determine the fabric. It will be purchased, and 20% of further design account for cutting and welding. It will cutting will be designed, and the technological sheet and welding will be shaped and formed. And our first airship is called Nova 01, is unmanned, and it will go up in the sky in January or February, namely in 2 months. As for the first airship, it will rise in the air once the project is over. It will take 6 months from the very beginning of the project, but we could speed up this project if we set a goal to manufacture it at once, to manufacture this Nova 01 without any other components. It would soar in the sky in December. The control system is already purchased for it. It is ready, and it will be assembled on the table next week. As for this Nova 01 device, this has already been created and developed. There are some air and gas systems, there are some ventilators, valves, and now the test bench is assembled here in our office. That's when these ventilators will be launched in accordance with algorithms, mathematics, and calculations. We'll take a look at the sensor values, and it is also necessary to maintain pressure, and it is a very important system in soft type airships. The soft type airships will be created. There will be a total of 3 of them. That's about our development strategy. The first one, it's hard to consider it as a airship. It's a 17-meter machine, but in fact, a 17-machine vehicle, it may fulfill some impactful work of an operator, and it also has suspended equipment. And it may also be used for advertising. The first machine may be commercially viable as well. It may be applied. The first one will be small. The second will be a soft type 2000 cubic meter airship. It won't be electrical. There will be gasoline-based motors and also some other motors, but most of them are gasoline-based. And the control system will be applied on it, which is elaborated on the small device, and all the systems of ground-based operation will also enable us to conduct flight, landing, also parking. The Achilles toe is ground-based operation, and 2000 cubic meters are selected. As for the dimensions, it fits into aviation airlinks, and it may also transport great cargo onto small devices. This is still small, but and the mm, errors will not be that significant. And since it is small, we will create several modifications. That's the second device. The third one will be 8,000 cubic meters. It will also be soft, but this will enable us to elaborate on the control system. It will have this full-fledged system of operation and decommissioning and ground-based control. And there's for 800 cubic meter device, 8,000 cubic meter device, which we will elaborate on the system, the board drive force installation, and we are actively upgrading it in the office, but it's a brand new product with new properties. Some of our investors have been to our office. You got to know it. We haven't announced that in public, but what are we doing within the framework of the project? We're conducting great expertise as part of the project. It has been adjusted to the project. This expertise is in place. It's 8,000 cubic meter airship. As for the 8,000 cubic meter item, 130 items, cubic meters will be created in February and March. That's when it will be earnestly tested. As for 2,000 cubic meters item, it is highly likely to rise in the sky in autumn and the end of 2025. As for 8,000 cubic meters and 2026, 8,000 cubic meter item will keep flying. It is a considerable device. It is comparable with the Mi-8 helicopter in terms of lifting capacity, but it has other operational performance properties. It is a very hefty device, and the fourth device, the final one in this range, has a harsh body, and it is 32,000 square meters, and it will have some force drives, and ground-based operation will also be crystal clear, which has been elaborated on 2,000 and 8,000 ones. And the ones which are of 2 and 8,000 cubic meters are the devices which make it possible to interact with the government and the different governments and states. They will keep flying, they will be certified. All these processes will be finalized, and for the great final airship, no problems will arise for it. In brief, this strategy has been approved and it comprises 4 items. The final one has embedded all the technologies, and then it will be scaled up and transported into 100 or 200-ton devices, and no hurdles will arise on our way because the hard body will be elaborated on it. And that, let me now get back to what has already been put in place over these 4 months. As for Moscow Aviation Institute, we started to cooperate closely. We attracted their students during our first conferences. They had a say and they told that Moscow Aviation Institute is interested in this project, and eventually we finish compiling the terms of reference for designing the gondola for our 2000 device. We finalized the creation of the terms of reference with Moscow Aviation Institute, and they are going to develop and to design this gondola. The second item has a model, and all the dynamic models are built. It is available, and you could see that in our Telegram chat. I sent you several videos about it. It was our first broadcast. There will be a lot of alterations over these 2 weeks. It will be a full-scale simulator, and pilots will practice takeoffs and landing, and the position of screens and other gear. It is an in-house development, and as for this part of the gondola, it is the area of responsibility of Moscow Aviation Institute. We started doing it, and we also started shooting TV series. In the end, my idea was implemented. You could see the first TV series. It is called Episode 1, AERONOVA Live. It starts with the videos of communication with the representatives of Moscow Aviation Institute regarding the launch of gondola construction works. On top of that, when it comes to external interaction, there is an Academy of Science of Aviation and Air Navigation. They've welcomed our new controller because the fresh blood, the newcomers are here. They have experience in concrete. As for this academy, This enabled us to curate the academy, and the academy will curate the creation of this large-scale survey together with the logistics and transport institutes of the country on implementation of airships of new generation. It's AERONOVA company. It's about the logistics and transport infrastructure. And this will contribute to the economy of our country. And it provides a very meaningful rationale for us, not only that they're required for this reason and that reason, because everyone has agreed with that. It's a very cool episode, and I'm also very happy about it. As for Baumann Institute, you could see quite a number of videos. Apart from air navigation and airships, we also focusing on Achilles force, Archimedes force, and maybe lifted into the stratosphere. We had 2 peak launches over these 4 months with the Stratonautica company. And as for these peak launches, latex ball is utilized for meteo sensors, and it is equipped with a payload, and then the ball is burst, and the devices are going down, and we tested our equipment, radio equipment, and Baumann University enabled us to issue the terms of reference for this stratospheric device. In accordance with our agreement, we have prepaid them to that. They purchased welding machines and purchased these welding materials and estimated and calculated it and created the first envelope of long drifting equipment. Our cooperation allowed us to find an envelope for a long drifting device and the ballasting system. It is also a ball, but it is smaller, and it is ultra strong and resistant and strained. And the materials were also selected for it and purchased. Some of the materials were made and the benches were mounted, and now these benches enable us to select the right theme. It is almost over, and the launch is due for us in the near future. You can see these videos, otherwise you may take a look at them. It is taking place in the Logoprudninsk Design and Engineering Technology Department. That's where our previous airships were constructed. Stratospheric probe will enable you to fly there on Saturday, and it will have the same carrying capacity which we test during the peak launches and a week into it. The first one will fly from Moscow region to Chukotka through Mongolia. That's how we are able to guide it. We take into account the height. We may change the winds as well, unless it goes beyond our territory. And in a week, it will be launched to the northwest of Murmansk. It finds itself in the annular current, and it will implement the year-round trip till the new year. And since these 2 launches are successful, they open up promising prospects for creating these stratospheric probes. Here you can see one of these peak launches together with Stratonautica. And the radio devices you tested here are used for a family of probes we have already agreed upon with several African countries. We're going to come to their places next year, and we're going to launch them not only to the stratospheric currents, the polar circular ones, but also to equatorial ones. It is very convenient to launch them from their countries. It's a very interesting phase. This project is interesting. That's an enthralling phase. Such a lot of events have happened over these 4 months, and the guys who are not involved in the construction of airships are now slightly appalled by the way it is implemented. It is implemented very quickly, and it is so thrilling for them. We have also conducted some work with probes. We had time for that. By and large, there are also some facts, there's nothing but details. We do not need any details. You covered it that in a very interesting way during the final conference in Moscow. There is a recording, and it is translated into all the required languages. There are some points, and the Fedor covered that together with the slides. What really matters while finalizing it? The year is over, the 19th stage of Sovelmash project is over, but we also had a pre-start stage. It is also being finalized. It is worth understanding whether we have implemented everything or not. All of our requests are fulfilled. That's, I mean, what we had to do during the pre-start. Some minimum key points were implemented, and the technical and technological team has to work in cohesion and on a consistent basis. They should know what to do and which equipment is to be manufactured, and they also have an overview of their further launch. And this fundamental work seems to be the crucial point for me. Being a rank and file, the first time I familiarized myself with airships, it seemed to me that it's the most complicated point. It was hard to design these airships and to select these airships, but actually this problem has already been solved, but it is necessary to put that into effect. It is also necessary to build the right relations in the team. It is necessary to arrange this work and to stick to the discipline standards, but all this should work effectively, but we should pursue the appropriate goal, and we need the right ideology. The key point is discipline and distance. The way you start will correspond to the way we finish, and we have started to do it in a proper way, and our pace is also optimistic. I couldn't even suppose that our first apparatus would appear in 6 months only, although but if we were targeting it, we would do it even faster. But it is also a super result to get the first airship within 6 months. But when we have a 2,000 cubic meter airship, it will be wonderful. It is striking. Please keep track of the way our first airship is rising in the air. Some investors tell me that they are going to invest funds as soon as this airship is going up in the sky. Once you become residents of the special economic zone, we will believe in your project. That's the same people say that, and it also propelled the influx of a great number of investors. Yes, and these events also coincide because that's a special economic zone, and some people told me that they were ready to accept us as soon as the first airship is over. That's what the employees of the special economic zone told us. As soon as the first airship is skyrocketing, we will approve your activities, and that's why we had to downsize it from 2,000 cubic meters to 130 cubic meters. And as for the first one, we also have a plan. It's not mandatory to fulfill it in 2025. In November, we're going to take part the World Avia Parlor, just like we had in Zhukovsky. It was an aviation event, and Moscow in Zhukovsky, and we are also invited to Dubai to this event, and we'll definitely take part in it. We'll be present there, and we will introduce our 130 cubic meter um, airships with several modifications. I don't know whether we catch up with the time of raising the 2,000 once. We shall see what we shall see. For the legal standpoint, AERONOVA is a Russian company, but we've also reiterated that it's an international company. It implies different legal entities and diversification in different countries. What are our plans and goals for the upcoming year? Yes, we have a clear vision thereof. Some people have elaborating on the strategy on launching the airship to the international space for years, and for this reason we need all the required permits and certificates, and in accordance with this strategy it is necessary to establish a subsidiary in Bulgaria in 2025, and some of the processes will be outsourced and delegated to it in Bulgaria. This progress of aviation industry is on its, I mean, aviation red tape. Not only, I mean, the red tape, they are going to foster aviation. When if a country starts to foster something, it simplifies the process. And Bulgaria is of choice for us because there are some certification institutes in on our planet. It's the European, Asian, and American ones. So if you have an Asian one, it's impossible to arrive in Europe. If you have a European one, you'll fly to both in Asia and in the USA. That's for the American one. It is a parent one, but also the European one suffices. Now changes are dramatic, but the European one is also good. And Bulgaria is a wonderful launchpad. That's where we're going to localize it. I mean, one of the companies, because as far as I understand, that's one of the companies because you're planning to register different legal entities in diverse regions in order to develop this country, to construct these devices. It is a dire need. It's not our plan for 2025, it's our plan for 2026 or further. And it will depend on our gradual, constant work. Yes, that's true. But you surmise that Bulgaria is a top choice for us. It will be Bulgaria, some African countries, and it is highly likely that it will be implemented in Dubai. And as for Asian countries, our focus area is China. In other words, in 2025, AERONOVA will be a group of companies for international activities. That's what we mentioned. The company will be a holding. There will be a parent company where investment is support via collective financing. But in order to make it work actively on the planet, which is necessary to expand at great distances, and it's a good clarification. New legal entities will be created by AERONOVA companies, and everyone is investing in it. And owning AERONOVA partly, the investors will also own some other companies which will be set up across the globe. There is also one more question. It is also important, it is of paramount importance of commissions and orders, and you may have a say in this regard, because you were absent in the office during the first 12 hours of the day. Why were you absent? There is a reason for that. Maybe you cannot name these companies. Yes, I may dwell upon the situation, and everything should be clear on an intuitive basis. Multiple companies have stated over many years that they are going to build the airships. Bukur was constructed them in Russia and declared their mm, ambitious plans, and the economic models were created. And not only the airship constructors, but also technical specialists and economists understand what the advantages of airships are and how they apply in the business. And this business is perfectly fueled. And today I had a meeting with the logistics company representative, which has been developing these items based on the experience of communication with airship um, builders. They are developing the transport flows and the economic values. They started waiting for the airships of different sizes, starting from 20 tons or even smaller ones. We are actually cooperating with them. They hand over all their cargo flows, goods flows, trajectories, and economic values. And not only do we collaborate with them, but we also request this data from many other players. we are scrolling the market and the needs. That's what we require. What we need is a sustainable design office. We do it step by step. We are employing a team. What to do this significant devices target? Maybe something will be adjusted afterwards of the devices, but I'm not sure because the primary analysis was detailed. We communicated with them today and they asked me to give this airships and I asked them to wait for that. And how much time did they have to wait? But they were unable to wait for it. But the project implementation timelines were proper, and you will get to this airships in a while. They overnight, but I told I'm not going to name this company, but it is an enormous one. They have some legal departments. They are working. I forgot it. Maybe it's not that necessary. Right now, as of the current stage, the project hasn't begun yet, and we are not sitting still. We're not looking forward to the appearance of the first airship, and then we're going to display it and to try to sell it. Right now, we're conducting negotiations with the customers. We have our first negotiations. We would like to understand what is required. We get the terms of reference and the requests and agree upon something. But it seems to me that this testifies to the fact that our first orders will and the first money will hopefully be received by the company uh, before the financing stage is over. Yes, that's true. And this truth is bolstered by vibrant interest. And based on my experience, I may state that an airship is a product which can sell itself. It's, for instance, there are some carpenters are working with manual tools, and then once electrical tools appear, everyone would like to purchase them. And as for small ones, so for 130 cubic meter ones, they are of interest from the advertising standpoint, and the monitoring is also required for that, as well as filming. And as for 2000 cubic meter ones and their modifications, they are required. Some of the modifications are required, and as well as those for 8,000 cubic meters are demanded. As for 32 cubic meters, they also demanded, and these streams and flows are also calculated for 60-ton ones. It shouldn't be 60,000 ones. It should be 60-ton one. And there's an ambitious goal set by our country for this design companies, which are guiding it, and they're focused on the technical filling and content, and they don't see any solution to these airships, and they are ready to order and to commission it, and they ask us to implement it, and they also set the timelines, and we are working out the design, the cleaning methods, the installation methods, to name a few. You also voiced an interesting idea as for other companies in the world and children's writers, some of whom has joined recently come to our office. It is a seed stage for us, and it is necessary. It is required. It is interested, and people do necessitate these airships, and there is no one in Russia to meet this demand. It is pending now. Everything is much more considerable in the world. It is cool that the Chinese started satisfying this demand, but we are now focusing on the tourist market, and these tourist airships will swiftly be converted into the construction-based or military ones in the near future, or some other modifications will emerge, and the companies are appearing in the market apart from ours. This testifies to the fact that we are working in a prudent way, and we are moving in the right direction. On the other hand, many people state that but only a few people make headway. On the one hand, our market is overheated. On the other hand, some people are disillusioned and disappointed because they are looking forward to its emergence, and that's why we're going to create it and to display it. You mentioned that today that many companies manufacture that, but they would like to pay back for one single airship. They're eager to earn money. It's costly, but our itinerary is different. You covered it during our other broadcasts. We are forward-looking. Our goal is not to manufacture one single vehicle. We need an assembly line, and here we don't have to manufacture one or two or 10 items. We need serial mass production for manufacturing the best airships for the best price and of the best quality to satisfy this demand. It's a very curious and ambitious goal. Yes, that's the matter of your approach. That's what you have mentioned. They try to pay off the entire process using one single airship, and when it comes to the market value and capitalization of the project, the process, it's a totally different approach. And this enables the companies to make progress. As for Uber, which is making loss, I'm tired to provide this example. It is very costly, but we have an investment model and we can afford to set prices. It won't be loss making, and the airships won't be loss making because they are lucrative in the first place. That's why we have a double advantage. Well, it means that at the beginning of the year, in January or February, the project will move on from the first stage to the pre-start stage to the first financing stage. That's what you told me today. A lot of steps have been undertaken so far. Only a few goals are pending. It is impossible to fulfill it quickly. You may state that real financing and the project will be launched at the beginning of 2025, and it was attainable to deploy it in a full-fledged way because we have loyal audience. There are some people who believe in this idea, and some of them were involved in it. And what suffices for them is to state that the airships will be constructed by someone, and we want to do it, and we know how to do it. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, because this feedback and this response encouraged and invigorated Solar Group company and knows that investors are ready to support some ideas, but the airship builder team couldn't have imagined this degree of attention and support. In the past, Dmitry Khmel shared that during his birthday party. He was just sincere. He said that all of them are shocked and appalled and astonished because they are cherished with care and attention. Everything is implemented quickly. That someone requires that apart from ourselves, and the prerogative, and all this is feasible. I even had goosebumps on my skin. Thank all of you to, on behalf of our team. They told us that they wouldn't let us down, but they will make us happy and even delight us. It's a pleasure to hear that. I didn't hear Dmitry tell that, but I can imagine that we have got used to this public activities, to conferences, foreign guests, to name a few. Once they join the conference, they eventually realize what great number of people are brought together around this project. And they were pleasurably surprised. Thank you very much, Fyodor. I think we have covered all the agenda items. Maybe you would like to add something. That's all we would like to highlight with respect to our key pieces of news. Incidentally, when it comes to your words regarding the live video from AERONOVA, it's a very cool format. Please keep watching it, and now if you have a chance to do it and if you like time to watch our long-term webinars, one video may last for 10 minutes and you will realize what happened within 1 or 2 weeks. It's very cool and convenient. It will be a weekly video mode. It will be live highlight cluster which are worth being shown. and then we will update this format. We have episodes, weekly series. Here, Fyodor will let you go. Thank you very much. As for other broadcasts, we will also see you there. Continue our contest, and we exchanged some pleasure words. Let me remind you of that. People haven't disconnected it, hopefully. We haven't received 300 likes so far, but there are almost 100 reposts here. I think that that's for good because we are disseminating our broadcast. Let me remind you that we give 5,000 investment shares for reposts if you fulfill some simple conditions. All the guidelines are made public everywhere in the comments, to the broadcasts, in the chat boxes. You may resort to technical support and they will send you all the guidelines. As for the broadcast via VK on the Generation Airship group, it is available. That's how we are developing VK because YouTube is slowing down now. And mine is merely functioning. Okay, let us move on to Sergey. All of you No, Sergey, he's present in all the chats. He helps the investors to dig deep into the problems. He bans some haters and spammers. Some of them are dissatisfied because they can't understand why Sergey has banned them. But do we allow people to get back if they ask? And if a person is blocked in a chat or someone by you yourself or some of the administrators, how can they get back? I often write people messages why they get bans. I don't always succeed in doing that because sometimes I don't have time for doing that because I have to fulfill other superfluous kinds of work. But I usually spell out and explain that the chat and the groups in Telegram are official ones that they use by the projects as a marketing tool. That's where we are sharing our information and enable the partners to uh, invite novices and so that they can ask their questions and elaborate on their objections. We can be pessimistic about it and to complain of anything because this will impede marketing, which is promoting and advertising that. And in this case, they making actions which are detrimental to their pocket and to their money because that's how any good undertakings are maybe deteriorated and the results will not be that promising. And sometimes people get these explanations and get back to the groups, and if they ask people to do it on their own, they do it on they do it on their own. They send me some messages, and one of the investors in the partner groups told me that all this implemented in other groups, and then they are released once a year because we also release our group members once a year. It's sort of amnesty. If they're real people rather than remote bots, we also allow them to get back to the groups. Okay, Sergey, I know that while you were traveling to AERONOVA office in order to take part in our webinar, you sent a circle via the chat box and you got also quite a number of questions from people. Sergey told me at the very beginning that investors and partners had sent him some questions in the chat box, and unless we answer them, no one would understand me, and others, in any case, will answer them. Okay, Sergey, let us answer them. Which questions did you get? Okay, let us answer them. Thank you, Pasha, for providing me this chance. I apologize for being unable to answer most of the questions because we will readdress them, but please have a good understanding of it. There was the first question, when will the first airship be certified? And invariably, Fyodor, Konstantinov, and those who are working in this field would feel uncomfortable if we answered these questions and confused something accidentally or used the wrong terms or told you lies, and this wouldn't be done deliberately. These questions are transferred to Fyodor Konstantinov, and he'll definitely raise them in the upcoming webinar called New Generation Airships, and you'll use a professional approach so that you get right answers. And I would like to raise the issue which I got yesterday from contact center during the call with the customer of a Solar Group company. His name is Yuri Yegorov, and there was a very interesting conversation. I apologize for not transferring it word by word, but that's how it sounded. Our client told that, guys, I'm scrutinizing your new project called New Generation Airships. I took a look at the composition of the team members, of builders of these airships, and these guys are so cool. I mean, those you have brought together, they are really cool. They're sitting here. I would say that they're not only based in Russia, they're not only demanded in Russia, but some of them are world renowned and world famous because they can do something, and everything is all right because we would like to put the wheels in motion using these team members. But how can I understand that these people are really working for a company? You just didn't just bring together this information on your website. You didn't just browse the internet in order to find the best airship constructors and piece them together? That's a cool question. That's how we have that we maintain the distance of Solar Group with potential investors. Our team may find some very cool projects which will potentially be a unicorn company, and it's very cool because you may lean against them and to make investment and help to push some technologies and make money on that in the future. But meanwhile, you don't know whether it's worth trusting these people. Yuri, what can I tell you? If you allow me to do that, and I have enough time to that, for that, Fedor will invite some of the designers, and he will confirm that they are working here. But I'm fair and honest. I have been here multiple times. It's AERONOVA office, and these guys enable Solar Group to conduct webinars here, so that Solar Group cannot spend money for that. And the people who are specified on the website are sitting here. They are in the personal account of Solar Group and the presentations, and they conclude conflicts. As far as I know, they are significant and long term, and they do work here and design the airships, and that's true. Please don't hesitate, don't worry if it's interesting. Once you were talking about it, I believe that it's very weird because this distrustful, it's a little bit paranoid. It's comparable with some foreign investors who told us, okay, see you see so much, it's an enterprise. How can we distinguish your company from the other one because you're near construction site? Because if that was your enterprise, uh, there would be a flag somewhere on the building. How can you envision that just a flag of Solar Group on the facility under construction so that it can be clear that it's what we may put this flag on any construction site? It was hard for them to identify. So on the one hand, it's very hilarious. On the other hand, this person is in another part of the planet. How can they make sure that's true? Some people told us that we are not genuine, that we have nothing but pictures, that it's not Russia who is doing that. We are not based in Russia, and it's a neural network which is doing that. It's the no, it's a neural network which is doing that. These people are not real. And when the guided tour was conducted here, this person asked whether engineers were working here, or it was called another theatrical performance. It's not a theatrical performance. The people keep working and turn to me every 30 minutes. They are wandering around the office. But I would like to express my gratitude to Ernova engineering team. Thank you for withstanding this challenge in a dignified way, because we got crowds of people within 2 to 3 weeks here. We communicated with them here, multiple engineers also, and communicated with them. They answered questions, and it was not stressful for me. It was very extraordinary for them. But they realized that they had to construct the best airships in the world, and they had to socialize with investors. Thank you for sitting to us in the team. Hopefully, Yuri, I answered this question, but I would like to add that there may be some inaccurate data when it comes to the first presentation, which was disseminated more than 2 months ago. There were some changes. Some of the employees were planned to be hired, and some of them weren't planned to be hired. And the eve of the launch and the start of the first stage of new generation airship launch, the relevant data will be presented via personal account. Everything will be revised and updated. And now let us move on to other questions which were sent to me via the chat box or my private messaging when they decided that I was ready to get to this webinar of AERONOVA office. Once you get to this statement of construction of Sovelmash building, will there be any event held for investors? That's a good question, but it's also necessary to hand it over to Sovelmash because Solar Group is concerned with arranging this event. On the other hand, it gets the point that when it comes to the operating enterprise, it is impossible to invite a lot of people. It will be held in some other area. It's a matter of the future. It's a good concept, but it is now hard to answer this question. Let us go further. There's the question: how much funds has Solar Group sent to Sovelmash for the reporting webinar? And are there any merchants delays? Pavel told me that this work had already been fine-tuned. There weren't any delays. There are some delays in money, but there are no botched attempts, and there are no failures compared to what happened in summer when the money was stuck somewhere within a month or 2 months, and they were stuck here. There were great sums which had to be wired. It was very hard to wire them because many people were applying a reasonable approach to it because we faced the same infrastructural issues just like China did. And I remember this frontier when these problems with China arose. Everyone was complaining thereof. Sometimes I get these pieces of news. Everyone complains of these issues, but people found out the way to get away. The Russians will always find an avenue. This IT company, this Solar Group investment company, Solar Group, is organized by the Russians who are coping with these problems. And Pavel will answer these questions. If we get 300 likes, thank you for joining us right now. You should answer the ZK broadcast. There is New Generation Airship group. We decided to mm, promote this project. There's also a Duyunov Drive group, Duyunov Motor group, and the Solar group. And please liken that on the airships. And if we get 300 likes, Pavel will voice the total amount for this year. And we lacked likes next last time, but you went extra miles and invited your friends and acquaintances. Please do it right now as well in order not to conceal this data. Let us go further. How many applications have been processed? There was a question. I mean, the applications for obtaining the securities from Solar Group or for controlling them, as far as I know, there are no unprocessed submissions, and there are approximately not more than 10% of rejections. But as far as I know, people are not in such hustle and bustle. Once they get information from the news sources, from Solar Group support, they realize that if they don't make decisions right now and they don't make any endeavors, the assets will be controlled by Solar Group. You will get dividends in the habitual Solar Group back office or personal account, and you'll entrust something with Solar Group. You will sell your shares or some of the shares and equities, and you may ask Solar Group to generate a contract on the basis of which you go to the registrator and issue the investment securities, but people are not in a hurry. As for the total number of people, only a few of them fill in these applications. I am not aware of the exact figure. Pavel requested it, but he hasn't got this information yet. Yes, that's true. Maybe it is at hand. We mentioned it during the conference. This information is available. Roughly a month has passed. These figures are more or less relevant. That's true. That's one of revelations. People are sincere. People were eager to get these features and functions, and once they were granted, many of them keep doing that. I can't state that it's not interesting for anyone, but not everyone is rushing for it. Everyone, not everyone does need it. It was necessary to fulfill this commitment. It was necessary to show that we have covered that, we're doing that, and but in fact, that's not that demanded because it's not mandatory to do it all the time. But we shall see once the deadline is almost over. People will be more active regarding that. Once you get $2.5 million raised by the projects called New Generation Airship and then zero round, will there be any transition to the next stage or the sum will be altered? I discussed it with Sergey Semyonov today, and he in turn communicated with the airship constructor team. It is being actively discussed. The first point is the following one. We have clear understanding that it is not planned to raise more than $2.5 million. That's the exact value, but it may be diminished. We suppose that it would be 1 million, but today they state that the steps which are remaining to be undertaken, I mean legal and financial actions. It is necessary to conduct some actions with the company, with the counterparties, with settlement accounts. and this will probably be finalized in January or February. Once this happens, all the tasks which were set at the pre-start stage will be fulfilled. There are also some other tasks. Sometimes more money is required, sometimes less money is required, but it's a matter of time as well. But it is highly likely that many things will be implemented faster and cheaper. Maybe $2.5 million will not be required. And also told Sergey that I had doubts whether it will be for good or not, because we have already voiced. Doesn't it mean that we are changing our path? But Sergey told us that we should be happy because the less shares are sold at the pre-start, the better it will be for our investors. This should be a piece of good news. And I asked them when about that, whether it has to be announced beforehand. If they wanted to do it earlier, it will definitely be announced earlier. We have two deadlines, $2.5 million, and if it happens earlier, it will be announced. Please stay tuned, keep track of this amount or the news. January and February are the deadlines for transitioning to the first stage of the funding of the project called New Generation Airships. There will also be some advertising. Now, we are now at the pre-start stage, but you may now upsize your pre-start package, this zero round package. Once we move on to the first stage, you won't be able to upsize these packages. Since you invest therein, you may think of the way to boost investment. Only a few time is left. A little time is left. And there's also a piece of good news regarding upsizing. I hope that next week we'll witness emergence of interim packages. Yes, many people required it. Interim packages will be required. There was a package for 10,000 and the next one is for 25,000 or for 15,000 for airships. Yes, that's true. There will be a great transition between packages and people would like to move on to the next package, but it is enormous. Once the first interim packages appear, you'll be able to upsize a package without doubling investment. And this will probably be available next week, but it's necessary to add that Solar Group is calculating mathematical models, making progress, and correcting the errors. And that's the approach which will enable you to upsize the package, but only as part of the current stage. For the first stage, this will enable you to upsize the first round packages. For the second one, it will be for the second round, but you won't be able to upsize the package of the first and the second rounds. But the number of investment shares will be implemented, and this won't happen just like in the previous project when the mathematical model had significant shifts due to some unforeseen circumstances. There were some considerable alterations in the project. They tried to to this model. It's necessary to facilitate the task for investors who are forecasting it and estimating that. As for the pre-start stage, it is very generous. For example, if you able to upsize packages, for example, if something happens with the shares, will be the pre-start packages will not be upsized because there is not that safe. It's just gratuitous. And let me also specify it. I'll try to be a little bit tiring. If someone pays for the sum which doesn't suffice and doesn't get to 2.5 million, this for the second round discount, it won't be implemented any longer. Yes, and we'll wait for the pre-start stage. We'll move on to the first stage at once. We won't keep stop getting funds, but we will leap over the stage quickly. Okay, thank you. As for the next question, it is rather logical and crystal clear and simple. How much time is left for paying in installments the previous project? In the first project of Solar Group, Sovelmash, everything is crystal clear. If an investor issues an installment for 30 months as per the discount of the 19th stage, you will be able to finalize it in 30 months. My next question is the following one. Which remarks did you get on the payment? What did you have to rectify? I would like to hand over this question to Alexander Sudarev. And as for the next expert time, whenever it happens, it is to be highlighted, but I may state from my own part that there were some weird changes, such as a shift in the concrete firefighting ladder on the lateral part of the building. It was put closer to the window in accordance with GOST standards and SNP standards. There was a 5 or 10 centimeter difference. It should be near the window. This is for these large scale concrete works, which were not that impactful. It was necessary to redo it. It was necessary to recast the ladders and to move them towards the window. Also, the those who verified them noticed that they actually noticed that the urinals and were not hanging on the necessary level, and that's why the urinal heights was changed. As for most significant comments received by Sovelmash, they were related to firefighting, ventilation. As far as I know, everything is corrected there. The committee started working on the 9th of December. It's works smoothly, but there are some interesting comments which don't have anything to do with our project. It sounds like a joke, but the firefighters worked today, and Dmitry wrote the Snapchat number 1, where he communicates with the investors that the firefighters have left us and everything is moving in the right direction. All of us hope that we will get the payment this year. What is the rough plan of construction of a Sovelmash plant? As far as I know, Moscow Technological Police, a Labushev Special Economic Zone, plans to do that. It was available, this information was available last year, and it is a Labushev administration which turned to Dmitry, to Sovelmash company, and these sections were put forth for building production capacities. Therefore, this project is being elaborated. Dmitry covered it multiple times, and it is cemented. Sovelmash will get down to full-fledged work, and they will be able to get down to this issue. And interestingly, there is a question regarding the legal successors of Dmitry Duyunov. There are no crystal balls of Solar Group Solar Group office. That's why it is hard to answer this question. But we know that Dmitry has children. There are some people who he teaches to work. He has a very good, strong team which initiates this project. His son, Evgeny Duyunov, is an engineer. He is a programmer of controllers of Sovelmash. He is calculating and estimating other issues in Maxwell. Dmitry told us that's how the work in Sovelmash is orchestrated. If Dmitry, for some reason, goes to the war, being driven by the heartfelt ideas or some other reasons, work will in Sovelmash will not be ceased or suspended. He was sure about it. He's sure about it because he relies on his team. There's also an interesting question: will there be any stock exchange inaugurated till June 2025? I put down some questions here, which I would like to raise today together with you during this event. I mean, in-house exchange, stock exchanges. I would also like to cover it. And as for the finalization of financing in Sovelmash project, that's how it will be held. And how much time will it last? I would also like to discuss the marketing plan. And Solar Group company issued it in order to enable them to pay partnership award for selling airships with the old structure constructed by the experts of Sovelmash company before the start of the project, and then zero round partners were dissatisfied with the solution, and I would like to discuss it with. I would like to discuss the question how many shares will be there in the promotion. People are interested in the exchange rate and what is the difference between the ownership of the stocks, getting them for personal management and issuing them as in name-based ones. But our webinar is bulky and significant and voluminous, and having talked to Pavel, we share the following opinion. I would like to invite you to the webinar, which will take place in the near future. Please keep track of the news of ours, of Solar Group company, and you will find out the date and time for conducting a special webinar, which will be dedicated to these topics I have just touched upon. We will hold the meeting with you. Some of you will be invited online. If you're eager to discuss it, we will raise these issues and discuss them in the finest detail. We will spell them out. Would you like to conduct this webinar before New Year? We shall see. It depends on organization, but we shouldn't prevent Solar Group employees and marketing departments from holding the planned events. But in any case, keeping track of the news, everyone will find out when it will be feasible to be conducted. Also, people asked about the installments in Sovelmash, in Sovelmash projects, in this installment. There is a total of roughly $12.5 million. We are answering these questions now. And there is also an interesting question for the executives. Which events are planned for the final stage of Sovelmash project? Even the final stage is Sovelmash, the project, Sovelmash project. Alexander Sudarev mentioned it in accordance with the plans. We will also readdress this question to them. Maybe we'll have expert time till the end of the year talking about Solar Group and the work with investors, with investment, to name a few. Everything is going on. We have orchestrated so-called mechanism over these years. There are quite a number of screws, and all of them are spinning and rotating. It's about permanent coverage of the project. We have textual news, webinars, videos, information-based sources. Different events are held where our partners and us tell what that this project exists, that this technology is available, and this you may make an input to this project in different ways. There are some large-scale conferences which we're also going to hold, including the ones which will enable us to open new branch offices of solar groups, and we don't have to forget it. So some of the partners who will live in this office told us that the first project and the second one will be pushed. There is a total of 500 people. I remember this year, and I anticipate that hopefully this country, South Africa, will be opened. Maybe you would like to discuss something else. As for partners, we have diverse new initiatives planned. That's what you touched upon. Since we have a reporting webinar now, I would also like to report it to the investors. I would like to tell you what is happening to partners starting from January 2024. I stopped working for support and I started dealing with the partnership network in Solar Group. And the key problem, which I spotted for myself, which I came up with, is the following one. As for the situation abroad, people have rather good financial educational background. I'm not going to dwell upon these conclusions right now. I think it's crystal clear for everyone, and we also have great potential of our platform. We may construct Sovelmash and Special Mash and the second special launch amount and new generation airships, to name a few. But meanwhile, it seemed to me that our communications are not perfectly streamlined, and foreigners do not always understand us. It's about the mentality and the mindset and the language barrier. That's what I'm focused on starting from January. We had a lot of alterations with multiple partners. with whom we seemingly had robust work, but we had to question it. And this didn't happen in vain because the start of a new project testified to the fact that these problems had to be revealed. They were not visible in the very beginning with the naked eye. It is not fortuitous that these issues are raised. I think that they are successfully being resolved. We do not have any top partners in India, Vietnam, and it seems to me that that's significant work which is conducted in order to arrange our work there in a proper way. And I'm absolutely sure that organization of this work will result in other findings, and the domestic investors will probably not catch up with entering the projects put forth by Solar Group. Against all odds, I would like to believe in that. That's a brief description of my current activities. That's a micro report for the investors. And it means that this work is going on, but new regions will also be discovered, and we'll get this information via these partners. We are also discovering new regions this year. These regions were discovered. You are aware of that, and we're planning to discover other ones. And we're also planning an interesting events in different regions. And I guess that all of this will also generate an effect. I would also like to make use of the situation and to benefit from it here on air. I'm appealing to those who are communicating with you in the chat boxes. Similarly, you ask complex questions which we are unable to cover, and you neglect the answers we give, talking that that's not an answer. Challenge it. I would like to turn to all of you guys. Please pay attention to the fact that there are quite a number of examples in the market, in our marketplace and abroad, where faith of those who are supporting it drive its capitalization upwards. And there's also a reverse effect. People who have implemented this project may surrender, and even significant business, which seemed to be rather significant and solid, is ruined because people cannot find enough strength to support one another, and they're promoting negative information about this project. They're advertising it, and it works like a vortex and a funnel. I would like to draw attention to the fact that when we affect your opinion in a positive field, we enhance the market value of our projects. If you are positive about the opinion of these people, there is a famous novel written that, where it is written that it's simple and pleasurable to tell the truth. Our Solar Group is uniting the investors across the globe and is doing some super things, and we would like the investors and partners of these projects not to doubt in that. There are quite a number of enterprises which are not only traded or listed in the market in an exorbitant because people who are support projects clearly understand what the executives of these projects are doing, and they believe that everything will be attainable, and this even suffices in the marketplace. And we have real affairs under the belt. We have significant achievements. Please don't hesitate in what we're doing, because we have the best willingness and desire to make all of us wealthy people. As Dmitry says, we're a so-called small bourgeois. Our projects are really cool. I have to mention that when the new project was launched, and Sergey Semyonov told that we don't have to delay it and to linger. We understand that it is a project is launched on time, and so people get some new budgets, and it's not necessary to pay funds from Sovelmash projects. That's why the Sovelmash project funding will be closed quicker, and less shares will be implemented, and the share of each investor will be larger. This has affected multiple aspects. We see that interested in airships, including the entrepreneurs, tell that they entered the Solar Group platform. They were aware of the fact that something is constructed in Alapushevo, but they couldn't even imagine how hard it is. People see the project and try to enter it, and thanks to the airships, they will be able to enter it at the final stage. And as for Sovelmash investors, especially the well-seasoned one, it is a very significant and important factor. And that's how we may answer one question. Once, well, people say that when the final stage is constructed of Sovelmash project, which goals are set? It's necessary to finalize construction. It's necessary to finalize construction and to launch the for-profit activities of Sovelmash. Here are the most significant and responsible goals set by Dmitry. We will be able to state that the project is over when 49% of the shares are submitted for further distribution. Here are the key goals for the final stage. As for the discount of the final stage, people will be able to enter it. They will be able to get to the number of shares which is being distributed now, while enabling them to enter the existing business without any risks. We'll understand that the assets which we have acquired have a price increase because electrical and technical steel is purchased, as well as the machines. As Dmitry has multiple times, it will be necessary to do it faster and to get higher dividends. It was a synergistic effect. There was a great synergistic effect of these two projects, and it is necessary to be appalled and impressed, because there is a hand above which has calculated that in a granular way and in a meticulous way as well. Yes, it's true. I agree with you. And today, the investors also have a chance to enter this project, given all these pieces of news and all that has already been mentioned. It is a unique window or split of opportunities which is still remaining. It seems to me that the coolest offer will be available at the final stage. You mean investment? Yes, I mean investment. Just imagine there is an investor who kept an eye on the project, who has just found out about it. It is not necessary to freeze money for 5 or 7 years. It's not necessary to have doubts and to be worried about money. They may enter the existing enterprise, which has just started doing that. And for the final stage, they will probably be aware of those with whom Sovelmash has concluded contracts, and he will be highly likely to purchase projects of Sovelmash. We may enter the real enterprise, which the market has not assessed yet, and prior to transformation to joint stock company, it will be the last chance you will get in a short run. Today, you are investing money in it and help the project be developed and to finalize financing, and 6 months or a year into that, you'll get the shares of the enterprise or a market valuation. If it's a unicorn enterprise, you will get don't have to wait for 5 to 7 years, and you don't have any gray hair in your armpits compared to people who entered it in 2017, who experienced the pandemic here and other uh, disasters. And as for the final stage offer, it is a very cool one. I would to urge the partners to pay attention to it, and please concert your efforts. Yes, thank you, Sergey. And what else is going on? We're waiting for the date of the webinar, and I'm also anticipating it. Yes, we will definitely arrange this webinar upon your will. Yes, it will be better to turn the people who are always so well awaited. Will there be some views on the slide? Okay, let us take a look at it. Everyone is interested in the sum of money what by Solar Group to Sovelmash this year. I can see only 170 likes. Dear friends, you're reluctant to reveal it, or some people have already spread some information and everyone is aware of this fact, and we don't know what to do with that. Let us think of it. Probably we'll be able to do it. But there are over 100 reposts. By the way, we discussed it today. That's what should be done. Should be done for either 300 likes or 100 reports, but reposts. But we haven't approved that. We haven't prove that I think that 100 reports is worthy and cool. Never have I witnessed such activity of investors to have 100 to make 100 reports. Yes, 100 reports is striking difference. Write that in the chat box. We would like to get this information from Pasha for 100 reports. Yes, it's fair. That's what you put forth. That was your offer. Yes, what that was your offer of 100 reports, and we had to have an isolation of reports of reposts to tell reposts from likes if we finalize the reporting webinar. If we believe that we have reported that for people and conveyed a lot of messages while I was observing it behind the scenes, it seemed to me that there was a report of Solar Group which has moved to new generation airships, but it is interesting to listen to further. Yes, you're right. That's true. That's how it happens. Well, dear friends, let us announce the amount of money, or we'll wait for 100 likes to appear. Figure specified in my laptop. I guess that's true. It's time to announce it because 100 reports are worthy. That's a wonderful result. This is remarkable. I can't even remember when we had 100 reposts, whether it happened or not. This happened, yes, it did happen. You're right. I think the number of reposts will increment. What is our deadline? When can these reports be made? Till the end of the day, or till the end of the day, as per the promo terms. If you've just joined it, I may remind you of that you can enter VK now, and if you don't have any profile there, you may set it up and invite your friends there, and so that it cannot be empty. Please enter the group called the New Generation Airships. Follow it and make a repost upon your will. Make a repost of this reporting webinar you're watching. You should pin it as well in the head cap in your feed, in your VK profile, and write down a message and send a message to a special mail in the description of this reporting webinar. It is specified there. Please send them a message regarding the fact that you've fulfilled this rule. This repost should be pinned on your page till the 30th of January, and this will enable you to get 5,000 of investment shares of the new Solar Group project. In my opinion, it's a very cool and interesting offer, and you may do it till the end of the day. Once this webinar is over, please read this description and comply with it. Join us and follow the project, and also tell your friends about it. Let them also fulfill it and join us. The more people monitor the project, the better. Maybe it may be extended till tomorrow because as of today we thought of the way to make a good post related to it. Oh, I don't think so. I wouldn't change the terms and conditions, but you may decide it because you are responsible for public relations and communications. You have great experience. Okay, let it be today. And this offer is also very lucrative. Those who could do it, we'll catch up with that. But there is also 110 reposts. Okay, let's do it. We're not going to slow down. How much money has Solar Group wired to Sovelmash company for implementation of the project in 2024? A little bit more than 1 billion rubles. 1 billion rubles. Or 1 billion, 3 millions. I believe it's record breaking. As for the accurate figure, it is 1 billion, 3 millions, 307,397. It's a record breaking year in terms of this sum. Last year, 700 millions were wired, as far as I remember. That's for the first years. I remember there were some figures where only 300 millions were wired. It is over 1 billion rubles, yes, and the headway is visible. It's over 1 billion rubles, yes, it's an absolute record. Psychological support thanks to our investors against all odds in the world, thanks to our foreign investors who've done a good job. They support our projects. They understand whom they should support and what they should do. Solar Group has managed to wire over 1 billion rubles to Sovelmash for project implementation. I congratulate all of you and thank you wholeheartedly. I join you. It's our victory. I think so. It's the victory of our investors. It's so-called crowd investing. It prevails. It's a genre of funding. It shows that it's not only alive, it is not only gaining momentum, but it also has tremendous prospects. And it will enable us to implement any projects. But I would also like to focus on Solar Group. It's also a unique team. I can't help being surprised because they managed to find this project called Sovelmash. They managed to agree upon it with these guys and to work in cohesion. And afterwards, they um, identified another project called the airships, and all the airship builders are brought together here. And governmental universities are hunting these people as well as state-owned companies and um, foreign companies. They are hunting them, but you did manage to do that. I think that investors have this skill of Solar Group team, and that's why they're supporting this project because they realize that these projects are not selected randomly. It's not a simple decision. It has been weighted, it's deliberated, and it is informed, and it's a clear proposal. As Sergey has already mentioned, hundreds of projects were sifted through. He mentioned it today. It took 3 years to prepare for these projects in an unpublic way, in a way which is far from public. Only a few partners were aware of that. The first presentation was demonstrated in 2021. That is why the project uh, of literally is only implemented the projects in which it is 100% confident. It is amazing. It is awesome. Providing such a toolkit to people is so valuable nowadays because these people are well versed in investment and they get to know the more pieces of using right in investment and they want to join these initiatives and it is an inevitable part of their lives. Their willingness is satisfied and where the technologies and dignified projects are satisfied, they're making a difference. Dmitry has repeated it multiple times that thanks to Slavyanka technology, the world will burn less carbon on an annual basis, which will directly impact an environmental improvement on the planet, and the planet will survive for a longer time. I know that that sounds pathetic, but it is. We're trying to find a cool project, and we're making our access, and we're also making a difference in the world, and it is laudable and commendable. Yes, now it's wonderful time to finalize it because we only have a little time left in order to answer questions. Although we have been on air for almost 3 hours, and do need some more time because people sent us some messages. Otherwise, they will tell us we are not going to offend people. We have already answered all these questions. I do mean the questions from the chat box or from the broadcast. I didn't read out any questions from the chat box. Okay, I just read those which were asked to me. Remember us that, dear friends, that our webinar is dedicated to the reporting issues of the year and financing of Sovelmash projects or Duyunov's motor projects, however you name it. On our last day of validity of investment terms of the ninth stage is the 29th of December. So the 30th of December, investment terms of the final or 20th stage of financing will start being valid and there will be significant change. And if you want to invest on the terms, you may do it today. It will be feasible till the 29th of December. Please don't forget that our personal account has an exchange rate of dollar. It is anchored for 95 rubles per dollar. If you top the balance today, you will benefit from it. You will get extra 5 to 8%. That's a good bonus. You may good. As I have already mentioned, Solar Group always welcomes investors, and the exchange rate of the dollar has skyrocketed, and that's why the investors may top the balance using the best dollars exchange rate. Once you top the balance, you'll be able to invest in the project of Sovelmash and airship and new generation airship project. It is limitless. You may purchase new packages and pay for installments. You know what to do with that. And don't forget that our zero pre-start stage of the project, called the new Generation Airships, will be over. Once this happens, you won't be able to benefit from the terms which are available now. Let me remind you that our discount will decline by a factor of 2. There will be twofold less beneficial terms at the first stage compared to the pre-start stage, and you won't be able to upsize the investment packages which you have purchased. There is a button called upsizing the package in the personal account that's available in the personal account. People are asked to get this extra interim packages till the new year. They will appear there till new year. If the reason that was here was this one, because the Great Leap. Just double check it. Everything will appear very soon. Okay, answering your questions. There, I thought the way that we have a backlog of questions, we have a lot of platforms with broadcasts. Let me start with the following question. I saw a question there. Well, Anton Cherbachkov asking you a question. I decided to read aloud his question. When you told us that people get back from the chat box, and when is he going to get back to the chat box, to the chat? I will responsibly state that you are removed from the blacklist of the group. You may get back there multiple times, but I would like to beg you to pay attention to the fact that it's not the first time when you lose the chance to send messages to the common group, because you want to get the crux and to bore people who are answering questions, you start questioning the answers to the questions, which is an obstacle for promoting this project and for marketing. Please don't forget that that's a common group where the newcomers may be invited. People read news there. We fine-tune the objections there. Please don't impede the development of the company whose assets you have in your pocket. It is truly weird. Please take note thereof. If something confuses you and embarrasses you and you don't understand the answers to the questions, send me a personal message. We had several personal meetings. You may make a call from me. You may ask any challenging questions and get answers for that. And it's not mandatory to complain in the chat box and to make an impression that something is going wrong. This won't do good. I am 100% sure in that. That is why I'm counteracting it, because this toolcat is in my hands. I'll keep doing that. And I would like to ask all of you to understand that. All right. It is possible to get back to the chat. Everyone wonders which chat has been discussed. We have quite a number of chats, social media. Please join us. It is very easy to keep an eye on the news with via the social media, and the chats enable you to communicate with colleagues, investors, partners in order to uh, be kept abreast and to stay tuned. These chats are good tools. I guess that this enables us to organize communication with people and we communicate with investors. We try to be online and to stay in touch with you. Also, I rarely send messages there. I've recently sent some messages there, but please be kept updated. I read the chat box, but I don't have time for messaging all the days. As for some questions regarding the shares, how many shares are there? Currently, as far as I remember, we have 54 billion of shares. And as for installments, it's a little bit less than $10 billion. You mean Sovelmash project? Yes, that's right. That's the questions about which it is asked. As for 5.5 billion, or no, sorry, I've confused it, 56 billion and almost 900 million shares have been implemented as 5 and 5,600 billions are in installment. I'm taking a look at the questions on the Duyunov Motors channel. They're dedicated to airships. They're presented in the social media, VK. There were only a few questions in VK, and you have answered them. I'll try to answer some questions. I won't be able to answer all of them because we have been on air for a very long time. And we have already received some answers to some questions. It's very interesting that they write answers in the comments. As for the first webinars, I remember that mm, there were some first years. There were, well, they faced quite a number of questions. And I answered every single question in the past, and the time has passed. And once I opened the chats and people start answering one another, there are a lot of investors which joined us long ago, and they're fully aware of the situation. And over the past 1 year and a half or a year, our community has significantly increased. People who were really sitting under the shadow and didn't want to be in the limelight, they were just project observers. They understood that Soul Group and Sovelmash were coping with their tasks, and then the airships emerged, and they understood that everything is going on, and they became actively involved and started helping them. I may read aloud a lot of last names. There are some people who are in charge of this burden, and they're specialists in different areas. From their standpoint, they react to questions and objections. Thank you, dear guys. It was very remarkable over the past year and 1 year and a half. You've uh, done very good job, well done, and that's how you are enhancing the quotations and the price of your assets. I'm 100% sure of that, that the more transparent we are, the more people will realize what we are doing and the more people are willing to join us, and that this will increase our price. That's the way the marketplace works now, whether we like it or not. Further has just entered us. Further will give a better answer to that. Let me read aloud this question. I have scrolled it up a little bit. There is a company Rosavia, isn't it? They also started constructing airships. And aren't we afraid of competitors? Are we able to withstand competition? Yes, Rosavia started constructing its airships. Will we be able to compete with them? That's how the question is articulated. You may just answer it at the background if you want. Answer it, you maybe close up and shoot. I don't know who are other airship constructors apart from ours in our country. What does Rosavia mean? Maybe Rosaviatsia is meant, Russian aviation is meant, but as far as I know, they haven't started manufacturing airships. There was a ruling of the government issued by Rostec, and it states that it is necessary to construct airships, but I haven't heard of that. Please, I haven't heard of that. Please send me some proofs via Telegram and we will understand it. If you can hear our question, please send us the proofs. But in any case, will we be able to compete with others? Yes, definitely we will. We'll be able to compete with the entire world. Don't worry. Okay, when it comes to the percentage of Solar Group in AERONOVA, it will be, yes, 49%. It won't be Solar Group personal share. That is the share which will be transferred to investors. But the essence is adding some comments to this question. Some people cannot fully hear the answer to this question. Solar Group doesn't have a task and a goal to take the project's share. I mean, the project they are developing, Solar Group, is an IT platform. It's an conducted IT platform which is releasing a cool toolkit which enables people from across the world to support this project. It provides a team for investors. 49% of Solar Group means 49% will belong to people who will donate money and help AERONOVA meet their financial needs and to invest money where they would like to and spend money for their plans in order to develop the airships, to create them and to build them, as Frederick has already highlighted. They will do just like Henry Ford did with automobiles. It's not about the creation of 1, 2, 3 airships. It will be mass production and mass assembly of airships. That's the opportunities we need. And the 51% will belong to AERONOVA. Solar Group is a collective investor and it doesn't have any own shares. Solar Group employees are often investing funds, and I would say they're the first investors in the project. That's what happened to Sovelmash and AERONOVA projects. They tried to enter them on the best terms at the very beginning. They will incur maximum risks, but they will start developing these projects at their own expense, right? Long before the rest is aware of that, but on general grounds, it's accurate data. There was also the final question I would like to cover, but it is lost somewhere. Just a minute. Well, all right, that's the last question on Special Mesh. Why aren't you promoting Special Mesh? It's an odd question. The project hasn't been introduced yet. How can it be fostered? It has been announced multiple times. You may be punished by Dmitry. Yes, we have already mentioned it multiple times as well as Dmitry has, but as far as I remember, all the endeavors of the Sergey Semyonov to get some more accurate and particular data in order to present it for investors are premature. Dmitry says that it's too early. The basic information has been voiced. We are more or less aware of the investment amount, and Dmitry published this data on his own, and there was also a headline of a business plan. Yes, there will be a business plan step, and we understand that it will be a factory, a plant. It will be based in a special economic zone called Moscow Technopolis. There was some more or less crystal clear land plots. Seems like all the means are available in order to launch this project. But Dmitry told that it is of paramount importance for us to finalize the work available, and then it will be reasonable to make the second step. That's why we have to wait and see. There's also an interesting fact which I would like to share once you cover it. Given the fact that it is almost impossible for residents to enter Moscow's Technopolis Special Economic Zone, some entrepreneurs get refusals and denials because they lack land and space. There is a long queue, and many entrepreneurs would like to get these governmental incentives and benefits. But given this situation, the administration offers this land to Sovelmash company because it knows what is happening to Moscow now, and that the industry needs these solutions. Many people have forgotten how important and valuable it was for us to enter a special economic zone. Many of them do not understand how it works. The special economic zone has its own administration, and there's an X hanging over the head. And it is said by the officials who state that it is necessary to develop profitable business here. Otherwise, what are you actually doing here? And the fact that this administration is entering Sovelmash and also tells the Sovelmash that they have to extra enterprise, this testifies to the fact that this administration is not making suicidal attempts. They would like to make progress in this field. Now it is time to finish right now. We have been on air for 3 hours. On the one hand, it's not for good because it's hard to watch it. On the other hand, it's very interesting for marketing. Yes, it is captivating and fascinating. It's also the ultimate webinar. How can we address our activities for less than several hours, talking about the year outcomes, the annual final result. Thank you very much for watching the webcast. Thank you very much for your activity during the webcast. There is your activity in the VK group of a new generation airships. We didn't harvest 300 likes, but we got 122 reposts. 122 reposts are very cool. I mean, the ones from the best group called New Generation Airships. We have the best investors in the world. The number of followers has also incremented. Quite a lot of people watched this broadcast. Thank you very much for cooperation. The key point is the following one. please read aloud, read the terms of the contest, and please pin it until be necessary to make it hang for a while, and then turn to our email stating that you have fulfilled these conditions, and please send the link to your VK profile. That's where your repost is available. Thank you very much. There are no pitfalls, but please there are no stumbling blocks, but please read it carefully. We have mentioned the exchange rate of dollars and the project called New Airship, New Generation Airship, and happy coming New Year. Also, it's the 17th of December. The year 2025 is appearing to be very cool. It will be very busy and wonderful. Um, it, as for this year, um, it is a leap year, and this was very hard, and we have experienced that. We tell on the eve of any new year that this year was far from simple. It is this intercalary year. It's a senior year, but still, we recall these songs. See you very much. Thank you very much. See you. Goodbye. Happy upcoming new year.